All right, hi, my name is John Winker. I'm going to be setting up a Galaxy Bullseye today in my attempt to show newcomers to Barebow that they can get into the sport at a relatively low cost and still do, what they want to do. They can go to tournaments, they can compete in their local leagues, that kind of thing. And I'm going to try to do this for about $200 total. So this bow we sell here at First Flight Archery for around 120 bucks, 120 to 130 depending on the size. I'm also going to be using the Easton Vector arrows. This is a very inexpensive arrow, comes pre-fletched with feathers. I'm going to be using an 800 spine because I'm going to build a 30-pound bow today. So let's get started. We'll unbox everything just as it comes. So we've got a string. The string that comes with these bows is typically a 12 strand, and that is why I've chosen to use the Vector arrow. It has a small knock on it, so it fits this string count really well. If you're going to be using a larger knocked arrow, something like a Black Eagle Outlaw or an Easton Legacy, something like that, you would need something that has a 14 count strand, which you should be able to get at your local archery shop or Lancaster Archery Supply. Comes with the limbs. So these are the Galaxy Bullseye limbs, marked at 62 inches, 32 pounds. On my 66-inch bow, it's probably going to be just under 30, maybe even closer to 28. Now the same limbs are going to be used on all of these bows, 62 inch and 66 inch. The 66 inch just uses a larger riser. I'm choosing this because I have a relatively large wingspan and the 66 has less string pinch for me. But a lot of people that I get set up with, they start with the 62. The Sage Elite is a good one to start with, costs just a little bit more money, but you do get better limb fit with that bow and you get a little bit better wood quality. Today I'll be using the Hoyt Hunter rest. This is just a cheap, inexpensive stick-on rest. It works great. They are consumable. You will have to replace it more frequently than you would a more expensive rest. But like I said, we're trying to get something done today on a very thin budget. So we just apply the adhesive back to the rest. Remove your limb bolts. Some of this I'll probably fast forward when I publish the video. And this is all very simple. You can do this at home. You don't need any special tools. The text on this will be the bottom limb. It's also noted, usually on the side, it'll say B. When you assemble it, the text here with the poundage should be upright. I've heard a lot of people kind of complain or say that they don't think they can get into the sport because they can't afford, a $2,000 bow and fancy arrows and that kind of thing. And while that is what I shoot competitively, I shoot a Hoyt Exceed with high-end Hoyt limbs. I just want to put this together to prove that you can get started anywhere. I'm not sponsored by Hoyt. I'm not sponsored by anybody for that matter. All of the stuff that I shoot, I pay for. I don't think there are very many archers out there that are sponsored, at least in this country. So get our string out of our bag. We'll string this thing up. I'll show you how I like to set up the rest and the knock point. And we'll go next door and we'll do some shooting.
When you take this out of the box, the big loop goes on top for those of you that don't know how to put a recurve together. You'll want to make sure that the string has some twist in it. The manual has a specification for the brace height on these bows. I kind of ignore that brace height. I have a tendency to like to brace these around 8.5 inches. That is larger than the manual recommends, but I find that they shoot really well there for me.
Take a quick measurement here. That's 8 3/8. We'll go with that. I like to use my square so that I can get my rest on nice and straight. I'll attach it to the string, and then I'll just lower it down so I can see the burger button hole. And that way I know I'm getting my rest on level. And you'll just slide this down so it's touching the rest. The bow should come with a couple of knock sets, the brass knock sets. I'm gonna run my knock set just over 1/2 inch high. I think that works pretty well. I set these up a lot for customers and for our rental program for use here on our range. And just over 1/2 inch works really well for most arrows and most shooters. Crimp that in place. And we're gonna go next door to the range. I'm gonna set the camera back up and we'll start shooting and we'll see what happens. All right, so I've moved the camera over here to the range. I've got my Easton Vector arrows in my tube here. We're standing at 20 yards. The targets are previously used, so they're already gonna have some holes in them, but this will be first shots off the bow. I'm using a Bateman 3-ender tab. It's a very inexpensive but very good quality tab, great for beginners. I'm gonna be touching the nock, so I'll be gap shooting these arrows. Just because these wooden bows don't take a whole lot of string walk. You can string walk just a little bit on them, but gap shooting them is the easiest way to get started. Looks like we got the third one on the target. I'll go ahead and walk the camera up just so you guys can see what this is gonna look like. My first 2 shots hit high. I didn't quite have my gap right. Third one hit the target. Oh, third one hit pretty close to the middle. So you can see my first 2 shots were a little high there. My third one hit pretty close to the middle. I think I have a pretty good idea where to gap this now. So I'm gonna pull these arrows. I'm gonna go back to the 20-yard line and try again. All right, round 2 here.
All right, let's walk up there and take a look.
All right, so you can see here now, I've got 3 arrows on the target, 1 in the middle, 2 a little bit high, but this is after only shooting 6 arrows out of a brand new setup. So if you want to get into Barebow archery, find a local archery shop, contact me, go to Lancaster, do something like that, get a bow, get some arrows, and start shooting. I would suggest starting with your local stuff. I'm a big fan of shop local, but like I said, there's lots of sources out there. Easy way, $200, get involved, start shooting, have some fun.